Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm Farhaana, and I'm a transformative mindset coach, and I'm here to talk to you about managing fear. So I am doing this for Life Coach University, and as always, I'm paying it forward, and we would like you to pay it forward in some way, whatever way you feel is fit, whether it's sharing the knowledge, sharing a smile, sharing some sort of kindness, whatever way you feel that you're paying it forward. So let's dive in and talk about fear. So when was the last time you were afraid? Now, I like things to be quite interactive. So if you'd like to answer questions in the chat, I'd love that. I love reading your responses and your participation. So we all feel fear. But do you remember the last time you felt fear? If so, share when you felt most afraid, the last time you felt most afraid. And I think for most of us, with the way this current COVID situation is going, we've all dealt with some sort of fear and uncertainty in the last few months. So what do most people fear? So strangely enough, people fear most things that relate to separation in some way. Grief, losing a loved one, especially in these COVID-infested times, divorce, getting fired, retirement, illness, and some people fear marriage. Other forms of fear people have are social phobias, fear of heights, fear of bugs, fear of closed spaces, fear of flying, fear of the dark, and fear of public speaking. And I could go on and on and on and on. So basically, most people have some sort of fear. Do you have a fear from the list I mentioned above? And anything you'd like to share about your fear? So let's start by thinking about what is fear. So fear is an emotional response, and it's triggered when we perceive a danger in our environment. It causes a change in our brain function and in our body functioning. So it causes a change in the part of our brain called amygdala, and it's reflected in our body. So we have the flee, freeze, or fight response. And there's two ways fears are built. We have innate fears we may be born with, like the fear of falling. And then we have learned fears. So, my nephew is about 2 and 3 years old, and he's constantly curious and learning. And one of the things I know we constantly teaching him is when something is hot and we say, oh no, it's dangerous, keep away from it. Or he accidentally touches it and he learns that, oh my goodness, he's going to get burnt. And so he now says, I'm going to wait for it to cool down. No, it's too hot, I'm waiting. And that is a learned fear. Fear is one of the most basic human emotions. Yeah, it is programmed into our nervous system. From the time we're infants, we are equipped with survival instincts. And this comes through evolution. Remember, we come from ancestors that were living in caves, dealing with predators. So they needed fear to help protect them. It makes us alert to danger and prepares us to deal with it. Feeling afraid is very natural and helpful in some situations. And it can also be like a warning, a signal that cautions us to be careful. So there's nothing wrong with feeling fear, but our mind still lives in its primal state. And some things in the modern world that are not dangerous to us physically, we still limit ourselves doing them because of that primal element, right? So have you ever wanted to try something new? Whether it's you've come up with a new project or life path, you're psyched, you dream about what it's going to be like when it happens. You talk about it with your friend. It looks great. Life looks great. then you actually have to do something about it. And reality comes crashing in. Whenever we do something new in life, we enter unknown territory. All our life experiences may not tell us exactly how to handle this current situation. Whatever strategies we used in the past no longer work for one reason or another. So we need to discover how to handle this new situation. And of course, one of our companions is fear. So fear is a natural response to real and imagined danger, right? But the problem comes in when we allow our imagination to run away with us, showing us all the disastrous things that could happen if we follow this path and give our power away to this fear. And one of our key impulses as humans is to avoid fear or make it go away. I mean, we could do that, but it also means giving up your dreams and living a safe, bland life. And would you want that? So one of the only ways through fear is to go through it. Thinking it through helps, but eventually you need to take action and confront it head on. Otherwise, you may find yourself living in a fantasy world filled with great triumphs, but your real life is like really boring and devoid of any excitement because you're trying to keep as safe as possible. You don't want to face uncertainty. You don't want to face those emotions that come with fear, right? We'll never eliminate fear entirely. In fact, we have to actually make fear one of our friends. And we have to develop strategies and tools for dealing with it. So it doesn't stop us from pursuing our goals and dreams, right? We have to understand that it is an ancient primal reaction that does benefit us in certain situations. But we also have to understand and notice it. We can feel the fear. And so we have to stop our brains from going crazy and prehistoric and say, okay, wait, I need to calm myself and stay focused. So people fear for a variety of different reasons, right? There are 4 main reasons people normally fear doing anything. One of them is excessive expectations of yourself. And there's constant judgment. So because the expectations are so high, you don't even give yourself a chance to try. You think you're going to fail before you even do it. And so you don't take that first step. And the second reason is harsh self-judgment. Your self-talk, you're filled with criticism, you fear the outcome, you're going to stop yourself. The third reason is lack of experience. And the fourth is lack of skill. Now, I really want to learn to ride a bicycle, but I'm really scared. And the 2 of the reasons that stop me is lack of skill. I really don't know how to do it, and lack of experience. I'm actually looking for an instructor and I can't seem to find one. And so I'm kind of limiting myself, but I see it, I notice it. And it's a goal that I'm working on to gain that experience and that skill, so I'm not afraid any longer, right? Before we allow fear to take hold and stop us from doing anything, we need to get more information. A lot of fear comes from things we know very little about. We base our decisions on limited information or things we hear, and then we fill in the gaps with usually negative thoughts. If we get the facts, find out what really is the situation. Don't make it up from what you've heard or imagined. Then when you plan based on real information, it will reduce some of that fear. As you're planning, think of your next steps. Think ahead. Think of it as a chess game if you play chess. What's your next move? What are the next several moves? Think about the problems and plan for them. We can't always avoid problems, but you can have a backup and it'll keep us feeling more secure, right? And often fear is ambiguous. We don't really know what we're afraid of without looking at it. So we need to grit our teeth and figure out what exactly you're afraid of. Then do a reality check. Is it likely that it will actually happen? Very often, our fears are irrational. And when we expose them, when we really dive in, we realize that actually they might not even manifest. Very slight possibility. And if it is a possibility, how can you rework your plan? So, a good acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real. Oftentimes, we make a mountain out of a molehill. We enlarge the situation. We think the situation is larger than it actually is. So, when we think about it, when was the last time you did something even though you were afraid? So if you could share in the chat, I'd love to know, what was something you did that you were really afraid of? So I'm thinking of a roller coaster, okay? Slowly, it's trekking upwards, 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 you know, that slow, painfully slow trek. And then it stops after the long, slow climb. It stops at the peak. You know what's about to happen, and there's no way to avoid it now. It's time to hang on to that handrail, palms are sweating, your heart is racing, and then you brace yourself for the wild ride down, right? Why do we do it? And what do we get after doing it? So describe a time you have felt fear, and why did you do it? Right. Some of you can relate to the fears, most of the fears I mentioned before. Thank you for sharing. You fear letting go of money management in your house. Yes, that's a big fear for a lot of people, because it causes the sense of insecurity. Making changes to who you will be, okay? And what else have you done even though you're afraid? Any ideas? Something you did even though you were afraid. So when I was a few years ago, one of my best friends was going to go skydiving, and she's like, just do it. And I was a little bit afraid too. And I still did it. And it was the best experience afterwards, that adrenaline rush. I've never felt anything like it yet to match. One of the fears you face is having children. That is incredibly brave, and I applaud you for that. And once you faced that fear, what was that like for you? The best outcome possible. Yes. So oftentimes when we're facing that fear in a moment, it's the most difficult thing. And afterwards, the after effects are incredible. And we have a participant sharing that, even though she was afraid to have children, it was the best possible outcome. And her kids are mostly grown now, but they are the most amazing humans. I can just imagine, that journey and following them through it. How incredible. So there is a famous book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jaffers. It was written over 25 years ago, but I love the title, and it really is very true. So we understand that fear is there to protect us, to keep us safe. But for certain circumstances, we need to overcome that fear and use it to our advantage. and not have that fear stop us from getting what we truly want and living that healthy life and achieving those goals. Yeah. So how do we overcome fear? How can we do this? So like any other emotion, fear is an emotional state. So it's really no different to confidence or joy or excitement. We have certain patterns that we follow to experience that emotional state, right? We may not be able to control the outside world. I mean, especially with this COVID situation, lockdown, no lockdown, uncertainty. Will we see our family? Will we not? It causes a lot of uncertainty, and that causes fear. However, we have 100% control of our inner world and how we feel. Okay, so what can we do to manage our fear? There are three elements that we control that can help us manage our fear: your body, your focus, and your language. Let's look at your body. What happens when you're afraid? Right? What happens in your body? What happened in your body the last time you were afraid? Tension? Anything else? Any other physical symptoms? Weakness. Yeah, and everybody experiences it in their own way. Okay, so mostly when we look at our body, our physiology changes. Normally we become slouched and our palms are sweaty, exhaustion, wanting to escape, as one of our participants says, sweaty hands, shallow breathing. We often don't have eye contact. And we have to remember, emotion is motion, right? Whatever our body is doing, it affects, whatever emotions we feel affects our body. And so automatically, by being aware of our body, we can see that we can control that to change the situation. And we'll see how in a minute. The second aspect is, what do you focus on? I can guarantee when you feel fear, you are focusing on something that is making you feel that way. And generally, it's what you're thinking. For example, say you want to get a new job, or you want to ask somebody out on a date, or one of those things, right? And you immediately, your thoughts might be, there's so many better candidates out there. They're going to reject me. Oh my goodness, they're not going to want me. They're going to laugh at me. I'm going to make a fool of myself, right? And that's what you're focusing on. It also affects your physiology because you get smaller and smaller and smaller. So we have to remember, where energy flows, attention goes. And our energy and vibration is reflected by other people. So we're going to see how we can change that. And finally, what do you say to yourself? What kind of language patterns do you use? Often our thinking, if we don't monitor our self-talk, it can cause more fear, and it can just spiral into this circle and never-ending fear. I'm not good enough. Why will she like me? Or why will he like me? They won't think I have the skills for this job. And, it goes on and on and on. However, fear is a state you can change. We have to remember the opposite of fear is excitement or even confidence. So every time you feel fear, and if you're monitoring, immediately change those three things immediately. Change the state. So The first one, going back to your body, what would your body be like if you were relaxed, confident, excited? Right? It would probably be your shoulders would be straight, you'd walk with your head tall, and your eye contact would be very strong, right? And what would your focus be if you were in a state of confidence? You would be thinking, those thoughts would be like, oh, I mean, she's got to like me. Why wouldn't she like me? I'm the best person for the job. And finally, you can also change your focus by using a technique that I heard from Mel Robbins and that I use often, is to count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to change that state and to understand that your thinking patterns are not exactly where you want them to be. And finally, what kind of words or languages or phrases do you use? I am amazing. I will get this job. Affirmations, words such as these help us change our state immediately. And every morning you can put yourself in this state. So don't limit yourself. Proactively get in the state you want to get into. So those are what we can do with our body, right? And that there are many other tools that help you get over your fear and manage it. One of them is to practice your fear muscle. Sometimes fear grips us because we try to avoid feeling it by pushing it down or away. You've probably heard the expression, what you resist persists. The more you decide to not think about it, sweep it on the carpet, the more you suppress or numb your fear, the stronger it's hold on you. So even if you're not consciously feeling it, you may find yourself rationalizing that your dream isn't worth it. Going up and talking to that person isn't worth it. It isn't what you really want anymore. So instead, really face and sit with your fear. Take the time out to feel the fear with intensity. Put aside half an hour. You can have a friend with you if you like, and feel that fear fully. You can cry, you can scream, you can carry on, you can write it out, you can paint it out, you can use music, you can use whatever creative outlet works for you, right? But chances are, once you really sit with it, the intensity of that fear will diminish and you will be more ready to face whatever that fear is. The second thing you can do is monitor your self-talk. I'm scared it's not going to happen. I'm expecting too much. I'm not good enough. I haven't got any energy. I feel lost and overwhelmed. So, do these sound familiar? Any phrases that use me and I, and that you've uttered recently, might be worth taking a closer look. So, what you can do is change that. Visualize and use your imagination in a positive way. When we're afraid, we use our imaginations negatively to frighten ourselves, by imagining how everything can go wrong. What if we turn that around and imagine what if everything goes right? Right? So think through the steps of whatever you want to do, whatever that's holding you back. Visualization is very powerful and it can ease your path and help you avoid the pitfalls. And, remember, feel the fear and do it anyway. Act as if you weren't afraid. Do the thing you're afraid to do. Because the joke is, everyone else out there is doing exactly that. We've all learned to hide our fear and act as if we have everything under control. But I guarantee you, even the most self-assured people are scared just as we are. Okay? They've just learned that they are stronger than their fear. Finally, remember our perfectionism tendencies, our high expectations of ourselves, stop us from doing what we want. So give yourself permission to be less than perfect. Several years ago, I went to Italy and I learned a few phrases of Italian, not perfectly. And I got over my fear of making myself look foolish or any of that. And I actually spoke. And it was gratified to communicate with people and people responded really kindly. And so all that fear I'd built up was only in my head. Also, we have to keep in mind that fear and excitement have a similar vibration. What you're calling fear may very well be excitement about your new opportunity. So it may be a combination of fear and excitement. So take a moment to really tune into your feelings. What are you really feeling? Is it fear or is it excitement? And use it to your benefit. Finally, well, actually, I have two more tools to share with you. One of them is what scares me list. Write down everything you're afraid of. For example, cycling, horse riding, whatever it may be, sport. And then slowly, one at a time, break it down into small steps and face those fears. And the last tool I have to share with you is rate your fear. Basically, this is a scale. You can draw a line from 0 to 100 or 0 to 10. At the far end of the scale, write down what you're most afraid of, your biggest fear in life. And for most people, it's losing someone they love. And then look at your current fear. For example, cycling, because that's in my mind at the moment. And it doesn't seem so big. It's put in perspective. So I'd love it if you could tell me which one of these tools you found useful and which ones you're going to take away with you. You can share them in the chat. So finally, we have some participants sharing what they liked, and they think what will work for them is breaking down small steps. I like that too. It works well for me. Assessment of my fear. Is it really happening now? Writing down the steps. Great. Thank you for sharing. Now, we have to remember we're not alone. Everyone is afraid of something. Find others who are on a similar path. Help and support each other through your fear. And, it really does make a difference, right? And we have to share and celebrate our successes along the way. As you face your fears, you build courage as well as your self-esteem. Each time you overcome a fear, you'll feel better about yourself and have greater faith in your ability to cope and triumph, right? So don't wait for the fear to go away and lose precious opportunities. Instead, face and move through the fear. Use your tools and strategies and climb the ladder towards greater success. And you know what? We all have a choice. We can live with the fears and react as before, freeze, flee, or fight. Or we can learn that a different path is available. If you need to step past a limiting belief or conquer a fear or step away from anxiety, then reach out to a coach, to a therapist, however deep or overwhelming the fear may be for you, right? When we start to believe this voice in our head, it can limit us. We start to feel anxious, untrusting of others, and we can close ourselves to opportunities and get defensive. We hold ourselves back at work, in our relationships, and we don't go after what we want. More worryingly, if we don't check those fears, we can start to accept them as truth. Sometimes the only way to get past your fear is to recognize it, name it, and then commit to whatever you're going to do to get past it. Often, fear is a mask for desire, and it stops us from getting what we really want. So don't stop yourself today. And we really think about a fear that you really want to overcome. And perhaps you want to share it in the chat. What is one fear that you're going to start working towards change, overcoming, one small step at a time? So I'll start. I mean, mine is still cycling. I've been talking to a few people about it. And so my first step is actually to get on a bike. I mean, I won't move, but I'll get on one. And that's one small step for me. So I get the feel of it. Public speaking. Yes, that's a lot of people's biggest fear. To be honest, before this talk, I was a little bit nervous too. It's an ongoing fear that I continue to face. So I was going to say, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask them now. So what do you mean fear is a mask for desire? This is one of the questions I said. So I forgot to say that this is a quote from Rich Lepkin. So basically, you'll notice sometimes what we truly, truly want is what we're most afraid of. For example, you know, I'll take the example of having children. You know, some people, you know, really, really want them, but sometimes the process of, you know, of actually going after what you want and, you know, thinking about the whole, you know, the 9 months and everything that comes with it, it scares people. And then what, you know, it's for life. It scares people, but it's something they really want. So they may stop themselves. Same thing with marriage or a relationship. It's something you truly, truly desire. But because of what could possibly go wrong, or it's not good enough, or it's not meeting your expectations, you don't follow through. But it's something you truly, deeply desire. I hope that explains it. Some other fears some of the participants have shared is, if, you know, my fear is going back to work and being bored. So tell me, how are you going to, what is one small step that you can take to handle that fear? My fear is people talking negatively about me. And what is the worst that can happen if they did talk negatively about you? And what small step can you take so that it doesn't, it's a small step so that it doesn't really bother you anymore? So what do you do to overcome the fear of public speaking? So one of the things I would suggest is, with anything we do, practice, yes? So there is actually, I listened to a talk by Lewis Howes the other day. You know, he mentioned how he was really afraid of public speaking. And one of the things he did was attend Toastmasters. I'm not sure where in the world you are, but you might have you ever heard of Toastmasters? And basically you go to this very supportive community and you practice every month. And the nice thing is everyone has to be nice to you. So you get out of your comfort zone. Or one of the ways, another way that would help is perhaps record short videos of yourself, you know, on any topic. Talk to yourself, record it, and watch yourself. Honestly, the biggest way to to face your fears is through practice. So for me, I don't like public speaking, but I really want to serve people. I really want to help them manage fear, be more confident. So here I am giving this talk. It's really, and because I'm doing more and more of these, it's really helping me overcome that fear of public speaking. I hope that helps. And we've got someone who says, my 7-year-old left school to come home to listen to your webinar. Oh, that just makes my heart go so marshmallowy soft. He loves you, Farhaana. My son says, fear is you don't say you are not good enough. You tell yourself you can do it. You don't say you're not good enough. You tell yourself you can do it and go and do it. I agree. That's it. That's exactly the way. And you know, if it's not good, perfect the first time, it's okay. That's the thing. We have to understand that we're human. It may not be right the first time, but it will get better with time. So does anyone else have any questions? I did keep some space for any questions you might have or anything else you want to bring to the table. If you'd like me to speak to you, you know, we can bring you up and you can ask me any questions. Do we have anyone who'd be interested? Okay. Well, can I invite you up? Okay. All right.
Hello.
All right. Hi.
Can
I can hear you. Would you like to share your name with us?
No, I'm gonna not do that.
Okay, that's okay. That's absolutely fine. Do you have a question? And thank you for being so brave to come up and talk to us.
Thank you so much. So I'm trying to think. I've got lots of fears. It seems like I've got many I could work on, and I think that maybe the public speaking would be a good one. Since you're doing that, you're a great example to me, and I really loved what you said.
Thank you.
About practicing, and it helps you get better. And I like what our young attendee said about just think thoughts about I can do it. I like that. And so I think that maybe I don't have any questions other than that. I just need to take a deep breath and do it.
So what is your biggest fear about public speaking, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm thinking that it might be not being prepared, not being worth listening to.
And what would you want to speak about?
Well, I could speak about a number of things. I could speak about marriage and how to make that good.
And if you think about it, what would your purpose be? Why would you want to share that?
Well, because I spend a lot of time with a lot of pain in a failed marriage. And I found a way around that. And so I think that it would really help a lot of people to hear my experiences.
Mhm. And I mean, we may not know statistics, but how many people out there are suffering in a difficult marriage or going through pain in their marriage and could benefit from that?
Oh, probably about 75% of the population.
Mhm. So when you say, I might not have anything, people would want to hear, how true is that? Or is it a story in your head?
Yeah, well, it's both a story and not a story, because a few people, lot of people actually, that I've talked to, that when I start talking about the how I've done it, they're just not one bit interested. And
And
like
go
my
on.
family, for example.
Okay. And
Yeah.
when we're serving or whatever, when we're passing on a message, will everyone always wants the message or receive it?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch your words.
So when we are serving or sending out or trying to help or sending out a message, does everybody receive it the same way?
No.
So if a few people, and you said it was family, if they don't receive it in the right way, does that mean everyone will react the same way?
No. It's just that also the people that I go to church with, they've also mostly rejected it. And the few people that want it, that indicate that they want to know more, have to seem like they have to do it in secret, because there's a lot of people have been negative about the work that I've done.
Okay.
And
And what about the people that you've helped?
then they're really grateful. The few that are willing to hear it are really grateful.
And unfortunately, in the world we live in, is there going to be more positive or more negative?
Okay, what was the question again?
In the world we live in, are we going to get more positive reactions or more negative reactions?
I'm afraid it's more negative.
So are we going to allow that to stop the positive?
Right, that's a good point. Yeah.
The reason I say that is because, when it comes to coaching, for example, there's people who may not agree with it or whatever it may be, but that if we allow ourselves to stop, then like so many others wouldn't benefit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you mentioned, you feel like you need to practice. Have you done any public speaking before?
No, I need to go. I'm sorry that I need to go. I've got somebody counting on me right at the moment. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And yeah, if you like, send me an email and let me know how you do. I'd love to know. It's
Thank you so much.
info@signature.com.
And what does she need?
I'll write it in the chat.
I was getting that.
Sorry.
Coaching session. So she needs something.
Yeah, well, she's in a bit of a stir because Rachel's coming.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
Okay.
She doesn't know when. And Rachel wants her to have her feet.
All right. Thank you so much for coming up and for being so brave. And it's honestly an honor and a pleasure to be able to hear you. All right. We have another question. And well, actually, we have a comment. our 7-year-old participant says, when someone brings you fear, you just let it be there, leave it how it is, and it will go away. Oh my goodness, I am so inspired and motivated by these words, and I hope you are too. So if there are no other questions, oh good, we have a question. Please go ahead. Would you like to come up and ask your question?
Hi, can you help? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hi, is it good?
Can you just, the young person said?
Yes. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yeah, what he just said, or he or she just said?
He said, when someone brings you fear, you just let it be there and leave it how it is, and it will go away.
Okay. My question is, I'm jumbled. I know my fear of speaking is always has to do with me looking stupid and not having it together. But I like your talk today because it's all new information. It's probably the same information, but it's different today. And about me going back to work, I don't really want to go back to work. I really want to do what I love. So I really love what you said about fear is a max for desire. And I forgot who you quoted, but I really want to help women find self-worth. I really want to help women. I've come out of the gutter myself and come a long way. I really want to teach what I've learned. So, but fear always overrides me because I don't have any experience. But that's what I really want to do and travel.
Okay, so first of all, I'll say Rich Letwin said that. He's also another coach. And I want to honor you and acknowledge you for the journey you've been on and what you want to share and serve with other people. So you said fear stops you and it's because you have no experience.
Yes.
So how can you get experience?
Oh yeah, that's my question. How can I get experience? How do I start? What do I do?
So let me ask you this. Are you a coach or?
No, I'm not a coach. I want to be. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think you can do if you want to be a coach? What are the first steps?
Well, I know in my recovery process, I have a sponsor, and then like when I went to school, I had a mentor. So I'm thinking something along those lines.
Okay. And what can you do to start that process?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to search for that on the internet. Do I search finding a mentor for coaching? What do I do?
So I'm going to step out of the coaching role for a minute and let you know what I did. So I went to a coaching school.
There's a coaching school?
So there's a lot of coaching schools. So if you Google life coach schools or life coach certification, you'll find many different schools. Okay. And basically, I would say that's a good first step to find a little bit more about it. And some of them offer like 5 days where you can learn more about their program and what it's all about. So I would say perhaps your first step is research.
Okay.
and then you can take it from there and see if it's really for you. And of course, you can always reach out to me if you want to know more. I'm more than willing to help. I put my email address in the chat,
Thank you.
and you can always reach out.
Is it possible to ask what school you went to, or is that too much?
Oh, no, that's absolutely fine. I went to the Jay Shetty Certification School.
Oh, Jay Shetty, I watch him. He's powerful.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, wonderful. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so
Well,
if you
go
Google it,
ahead.
you'll find.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. All right. Wow. Well, thank you very much. I like the newness of your talk.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to serve. And do you have any other questions, or do you feel like you've got a good starting point?
I like that you said about the desire, because whatever I really, really want, I can find a reason why I can't or I won't be able to do it. So your explanation of that is really helpful. And what the little person said about fear, it's just so,
Yes. From the mouths of babes, eh?
yeah. Wow. His parents must be awesome to allow him to be able to be creative like that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So,
I know. I'm inspired by him.
huh?
I'm so inspired by him.
Yeah, thank you very much for answering my questions. I guess I'll just start there and see.
And actually, he has more advice for us. He just said, fear is a sign of scared moments that will turn into happy and successful moments.
Wow, can you write that down? That is true though, if you really look at it. Because once you face fear, like you said, and get through it, there is usually joy on the other side.
Yes, I'll put it in the chat for you. And if you want to copy it for some advice someday to remind yourself, please go ahead. I'm sure he won't mind.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. And so we've got a coach, I think a very young coach in the midst of us already, and a very powerful one at that. So thank you so much for your advice. And Glorianne, I think you amazing things are going to be happening for you. We're so excited for you.
Thank you very much. I believe it. I believe what you say, but I don't see the quote.
Oh, if you look in the chat, it's there.
No. It says, oh, no. Under
That's strange.
question and answer? No.
No, it's not in question and answer. It should be in the chat. I think if you go down, you should see it.
Yeah,
Not
I'm pressing chat, but it's just, all I see is I have a question that I asked.
So basically, Life Coach University can email you the quotes.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. I'll put my email in the chat.
Yes, please go ahead, and then we'll email you the quotes.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thanks everybody in behind the scenes and your help. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Right. So if we have no other questions, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So as I said at the beginning, I'm Farhaana. It's been truly a pleasure and an honor talking to you all. I'm a transformative mindset and relationship coach, and I truly believe in, serving and helping others overcome overwhelm, lack of confidence, self-worth and self-love to get out of their own way and boost their confidence and create a life they love. And as always, we like to pay it forward in whatever way you see fit. If you have any suggestions of possible topics you'd like me to speak on next time, please feel free to email me at info@significantconnection.com or email Life Coach University and they can pass it on. We will see you next time. Much love and light to all of you, and happy holidays.